So after watching Sunday's episode, it's 100% clear to me that Summer, Lex, and Dolly as a trio made this season. So not even close. These three contributed the most to the season by far. The only honorable mention that I would give is to Ivory. Some people would ask, like, what about Pretty P? And I'm gonna get to that later. But Summer, Lex, and Dolly absolutely carried the whole show. And that gets to the question of what really makes a season good. And it just comes down to how good and how well developed the storylines are, what kind of drama is going on, and if we're to be honest, the fights that are on the show. That's what people watch the show for in general. If everyone acted like Jasmine, Yoshi, and Emma on the show, there would be no show to watch. So I'm not saying that that means that they were right in everything that they did, or that means that they were wrong in everything that they did, or you need to like them or you need to dislike them. What I'm saying is that they made any of the entertainment throughout the show the whole entire time, and they contributed the most to the show by far. To me, Summer is MVB, and it's not even close. I would really say that she gets a like A minus for her whole performance throughout the show. And the only reason why she really gets an A minus is because there were some things that she did throughout the show where she was actually in the wrong or considered in the wrong at, like with jumping into the Slim versus Roly fight. Overall, her ability to actually stay in the loop and keep something going throughout the show and make friends and give them storylines and contribute, I would say that she definitely gets an A minus, and she deserves to come back for another season. To me, that's whether you like her or not. She contributed a lot to making the show worth watching. From the very beginning, she came in and stood on exactly what she said she was going to stand on up until the very end. And she's been that way from the beginning to the end. And when you look at someone like Pretty P towards the beginning of the show, she contributed to the show. Now, how much she contributes to the show from the middle to the end is basically the same amount that I would say that Emma contributed to the show after the first or second episode of Emma. I think Pretty P's storylines were always connected to Summer or Bad Dolly in a way, and now she's not able to keep up that same energy throughout the whole entire season. From beginning to end, though, Summer has been consistent, and that's whether she wins the fight or loses the fight. And it's not just that, it's really the trio that she developed with Lex and Dolly. It was able to make a bigger storyline that led up to this Sunday's episode, which is the tension between the newbies and the OGs. Summer was one of the biggest factors that played into that being what everybody was waiting to see. This was the most explosive fight that happened on the show. The Summer, Lex, and Dolly trio, it works because it's everything that people wanted Biggie, Tasiki, and Anna to be. Where they have each other's backs, yes, but they each individually stand on their own business too. I will say that watching this episode, I was able to really grasp why I stopped liking Anna, Scotty, and Jayla somewhat. Anna came in so strong when she first appeared on Baddies. I remember the fight between her and Scotty kind of being her intro, and she kind of always contributed and stood on her own. But now all she does is sneak and jump, and she brags about wanting to jump into fights throughout her whole entire confessional. It almost looks like she barely fights on her own at all anymore. The reason why Scotty is unlikable to me is because she's really untitled, and I would say that she gets the most unfair treatment as far as like how many benefits she gets compared to what she contributes to the show than any of the other girls on the show. I feel like Scotty should be Natalie's friend that helps her with the production of the show, but definitely not a full-time cast member. The reason why Jayla is starting to get kind of annoying sometimes is because Jayla likes to do something called bandwagoning. Whenever there's a group of people who are doing something, she will join in on the bandwagon, and it's annoying. I just saw it with this whole newbies versus OGs kind of thing where she just joins in on the bandwagon. But we get into this episode and Lex and Summer are talking about how the OGs don't follow the rules and they're done with it. And it really just gets to a point, and I think that they're right. I mean, some of the rules they were talking about is sneaking, jumping, and fighting at bookings. And that's something that they've seen the OGs do throughout the whole entire time. And also not showing up to bookings in general. But there's three things that I really want to talk about in general from the episode. It was Summer versus Scotty and Anna, Jayla versus Lex, and Natalie versus Scotty. Getting into Scotty, and the reason why I really am not a fan of Scotty, to be honest, and I really don't think that. Not only am I not a fan of her, I like dislike what she brings to the show. Her treatment on the show is completely and 100% unfair. Scotty is nothing but a protected kind of nepotism baby plant on the show. Like, by nepotism, I mean someone that's getting employment by the fact that they're connected through friends, relationships, that kind of thing that she has going on there. Because Scotty doesn't really contribute to the show. I think that she would be interesting on a dating show, but this isn't a dating show. It's more of a fighting show. When we saw Summer come into the dinner, she comes in. Summer at this point looks like she's ready to pop off. Anna is warning Scotty. Scotty has her eyes on Summer completely. There's not any kind of sneaking that's going on. And she's aware of the fact that Summer probably wants to fight her. Summer goes in, hugs Natalie, but you can hear the whole entire production. And it sounded like it might have been the CEO of Zeus, Lemmy, yelling for Summer to sit down, yelling for Summer to try to stop her from what she was about to do. And I've never seen them do that for nobody else. Like, if Lex had decided that that night she was going to shock everybody and she wasn't going to go after none of the OGs, she was going to go after Ivory again. So she just walks over to her. And if all production could see that she was about to swing off on Ivory, I guarantee that they would not have said a peep. And that's why I said, what's fair about that? There's nothing fair about that. There's nothing balanced about that. We don't like her as a castmate because it just comes off as unfair. And I know if it's showing through on screen, it's showing through even more off screen. But Summer goes over to Scotty and they almost have a tussle. When you look at it, they didn't really even hit each other. And one of the major reasons why is because Natalie was holding Summer's arm and security jumped in immediately. And this is where we get to Natalie versus Scotty. Now, I saw a lot of people saying online, Natalie's not a real friend. Scotty needs to get rid of Natalie. I don't even know how you can come to that conclusion. I really, really don't know how you can come to that conclusion. If anything, I'd almost say it's the other way around. Scotty is in that situation, Scotty and Natalie, where your boss is also your friend. And you know what? I don't think that Natalie is the one that's confusing how that relationship is supposed to work. I think Scotty is the one that has it confused. Let me break this down. If you're working at McDonald's, right? And the boss at McDonald's, the general manager at McDonald's is your friend, right? And you had some sort of disagreement over work situation with another employee, your boss's job, even though that's your friend at work, your boss's job is to be neutral, to look at the situation, and to be fair. 120%. Now, that's at McDonald's, where the boss's job is to try to solve that situation between you two and to de escalate and diffuse the situation and apply some corrections so that it doesn't happen again. Natalie's job is to be the executive producer of a show called Baddies on Zeus Network. Her job is not to de escalate altercations, it's to encourage them for ratings and reviews. That's her job. So if Scotty doesn't like Natalie doing her job, then Scotty should not be a cast member on the show if she can't handle or separate Natalie doing her job versus being her friend. It's just that simple and clear. It's not Natalie's job on the show where she's at work and trying to make a good show that's worth watching, that gets subscribers and views, to make sure that Scotty is always protected when Scotty wants to be a full-time cast member on the show. It's not Natalie's job to beef and argue with other cast members for coming at Scotty, who is also her employee, and they are her employees too and should all be equal on the show. It's not her job. Now, if they were at a club and they weren't filming and there's no Baddie season in the works, it's just Natalie and Scotty hanging out, decided as friends to go to a club, and some girl comes over and speaks to Natalie and starts swinging on Scotty, I almost guarantee you that Natalie would help Scotty in that situation. But it's not, but at work, if Scotty wants to work there, which she got the job because of Natalie, and she's staying on the job because of Natalie and Lemmy, that's enough support for her in itself because she barely contributes anything. At work, Natalie's job is not to bend the rules to help Scotty. 100%. And if she doesn't want Natalie to be her boss, then she should leave. You can absolutely see the fact that Natalie cares too, regardless of the points that Scotty was making, because she almost jumped over that table. In fact, I think she did jump over that table when Jayla got body slammed by Big Lex. And when Summer started to go swing on Scotty, she held Summer's arm and got in the middle of the fight. If it was anybody else, would she do that? If it was Lex and Ivory, did she do that? No. And she really shouldn't even be doing that. That's kindness in and of itself, because they're at work. They're at work. And everybody's supposed to be fair. All employees are supposed to be equal. Scotty doesn't want it to be that way, then she should leave. Scotty and Summer go to catch a fade. I would say that Scotty got over, but she didn't really do much. Scotty and Summer both can't really fight like that, to be honest. Summer was swinging with her head just completely down, so it looked like she was swimming. Scotty's eyes was open. She's taller than Summer. She was looking down on Summer. She was able to come down on her, but mostly the fight was boring. Scotty didn't want to fight with Lex, which is fair to a certain extent because her problem was never with Lex. Her problem was with Summer because Summer kept jumping into Scotty's discussions. But on the other hand, I could understand Lex wanting to catch a fade with Scotty because Scotty did jump into the fight between Summer and Anna and jumped Summer. So I could understand Summer's friend wanting to get Scotty back. So I could understand both sides of that. You look at the fight between Summer and Anna. They went 3 rounds. And I'm going to tell you, they went 3 rounds because Anna knew that she lost the first 2 rounds. So she wanted to keep fighting Summer, even though she didn't want to fight Lex at all. She wanted to keep fighting Summer until she could get the one up on Summer. The 3rd round, she barely got up. People are saying that Summer was just pulling hair. That's been a thing between girls fighting for the longest, literally all my life. It's part of the way that they fight. And Anna was just looking like a rag doll. She was just looking embarrassing. So everybody trying to say, and for Anna to lose to Summer, I mean, I'm just really shocked because she did not lose to Scotty. But she definitely was getting swung around the ground multiple times and flipped over and stuff like Jayla was. Not quite as bad, but was getting swung around on the ground and stuff the whole entire time that the two of them were fighting. So I would definitely say that Summer got the ups on Anna. The annoying part is that when Summer and Anna were fighting, Jayla multiple times tried to jump into the fight. And this is what I'm talking about. It's just really, really annoying to watch this kind of stuff on the show. But security was so focused on Lex that they almost let Jayla get in multiple times. Natalie tries to break it up and telling Summer to let her go. And that's really what this whole entire episode was, is Natalie screaming for Summer and Lex to please, please, please stop beating up my friends. So then we get to Jayla versus Lex. They let Summer come in first, and then they let Lex come in. When Lex comes in, she's off rip on 10. She comes in, she's looking gutter. She's looking like she came to squabble. Jayla does not look ready. Jayla has on like a dress. She comes over to Jayla immediately, starts trying to take off on her. Security in between the two of them, but they're going to let them run the one up. Man, when they started swinging at each other, all Jayla's arms was doing, she was trying to block. She was trying to block. She didn't swing at all this first round. She didn't swing at all. She's trying to block. She's like this the whole time. Lex is just hitting her in her jaw, side of the head, back of the head, both hands. So Jayla starts realizing she can't keep up with her. And she goes in to grab her. At this point, anybody who's watching, and this is the thing, we're seeing it on camera, but when you're there in person in a fight, you can really see what's exactly happening. And the reason why you know that Jayla was taking a L even up right up until this point is because at this point when she goes to try to grab Lex, you see Anna go to try to jump in, and Tasiki holds Anna and says, "No, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump," because Anna knows that Jayla's taking this L. So Jayla tries to put Lex in a headlock. And the reason why she's doing this, if you ever watch boxing matches, they're throwing hands but when a person can't keep up, they try to grab the person to try to get a break from this person hitting them so much. So this is what Jayla's doing. And she's not letting Lex go. She's just holding her. Lex puts her foot behind Jayla's foot and flips her over on her back, her legs tossed in the air like this. She's on the ground. Natalie hops over the table and is asking Lex to stop. And Lex is wailing on Jayla. Once Jayla gets up, she's on mute. She's quiet. Her back hurts. She can't talk. She needs to get her thoughts together. She didn't expect that to just happen the way that it happened. She didn't expect for it to happen so quick. She probably thought that she was turning the tides when she grabbed Lex and was about to be able to get something off. And after she got slammed on her back, by the time she got up, she had to think about what just happened. So Lex is just barking, saying how she dogged her. Anna goes over and sneaks Summer again. It's just really just annoying. Look, this whole entire thing was really just exposing the OGs as it's time for it's time for most of them to go home. So Jayla eventually has enough time to think, and she goes in for a round two. And Jayla just gets mauled up. She tries to go in to grab again. She's getting punched in the back of her head. She starts trying to swing. It almost looked like she cried for help at some point. She's bloody. The episode cuts off at Mel and Ivory fighting, and it looks like Ivory won, but it looks like they're going to go a couple of rounds. Really, this episode just came down to, it was called Dolly's Vengeance, and Summer and Lex definitely ate that episode. It is not even questionable to me that both of them should definitely come back for another season. I think that they both deserve it. Like I said, I think that this should be the finale, but I do want to see both of them get their baddies changed next week because I believe both of them do. And I think Pretty P does too. But until next time.